In a half hour tomorrow at 4:30, I guess, because the Blazers come at 5:30. See, I've forgotten how to do this job.
Good night. Congratulations.
Chicago River breaks through underground tunnels, flooding downtown Chicago basements and forcing thousands to leave work as the loop shuts down. And Eye on America, the debate over home video games. Are they helping or hurting our children? This is the CBS Evening News. Good evening, Dan Rather reporting. The United States has some of the best health care in the world, but America's health care problems are spreading. According to new surveys out tonight, millions of our teenagers are now feeling the impact, everything from alcohol abuse to AIDS. As CBS News health correspondent Edie Magnus reports, all of our children are not all right.
America's teens are the lost souls of the nation's healthcare system, experts warn today. Their problems all but ignored amid concerns about the very young and the very old.
By neglect, we let them slip into uninformed, impulsive, destructive decisions that often lead to shattered lives.
7 million adolescents between the ages of 10 and 18, 1/4 of all teenagers, are now believed to be at serious health risk. From sexually transmitted disease, gonorrhea has increased 4-fold among children 10 to 14, according to the Carnegie Corporation, and 3-fold among those 15 to 19.
I can't speak to my parents. I mean, your parents, you tell them, oh, Mom and Dad, I want to ask a question. What would you do if I were having sex? What would you say? And a lot of parents don't want to talk about it.
Some 1 in 5 adolescents suffer mental disorders, including anxiety and depression. Suicide has tripled among 10 to 14-year-olds and doubled among those 15 to 19.
People around our age are experiencing more stress.
The expression kids should be seen and not heard is in a lot of kids' minds, and they think that if they have a problem that they can't go and talk to someone about it, that they can't express how they're feeling.
Alcohol is now implicated in about 1/3 of all rapes and crimes committed by young people. And according to the U.S. Surgeon General, 350,000 8th graders are so-called binge drinkers.
The use of alcohol in underage people is effectively an unsophisticated, stupid, but far too common form of Russian roulette.
And then there's AIDS.
Everybody knows someone who has AIDS. It's not a secret anymore.
Cases of AIDS have shot up more than 70% among teenagers in the past 2 years.
We keep denying the fact that kids really are into heterosexual sex. Well, they are. We're crazy if we don't realize the decade of denial didn't work, and telling them just say no didn't work.
So what would work? Experts today called for expanding school-based health programs. Now they serve less than 1% of students. Another proposed solution, more specialized care for teens. Many healthcare workers surveyed say they're not equipped to handle problems like pregnancy, depression, and substance abuse. Dan?
And, Edie, what can parents do?
Well, the biggest thing that the experts today said parents can do is not to assume that teenage children are just going to outgrow their problems. Adolescence, they said, may be a phase, but the habits formed during adolescence can have lifelong consequences.
Thanks, Edie. Hard new questions about health care and hard new questions about the nation's infrastructure. There was a dramatic example today of the deterioration of America's infrastructure, the crumbling network of roads, bridges, and tunnels. Chicago's downtown business district was virtually shut down, thrown for a loop by an underground beach of river water. Correspondent Frank Courier reports from the soggy Second City.
A freak break in an underground tunnel today sent millions of gallons of the Chicago River surging like a huge sewer into basements beneath the entire downtown business district.
They shut the whole building down now, as right now.
No elevators, no power?
No power.
The subterranean flooding forced the complete shutdown of power to a 12-square-block area. Thousands of Loop office workers were evacuated, subways and businesses closed. The entire Chicago Board of Trade halted operations at mid-morning.
They made an announcement and everybody's cheering, and I didn't know why. And we kept trading, and somebody goes, we're closing in a minute. And I'm like, what?
Engineers say these pilings beside a bridge recently installed penetrated the river bottom 40 feet deep and breached a turn-of-the-century tunnel just beneath the riverbed. A hole the size of an automobile is sucking river water into a 20-mile system of abandoned tunnels once used to transport coal and which now crisscross beneath some of the world's tallest skyscrapers. The dilemma left firefighters scrambling up and down sidewalk manholes with pumps and hoses, trying desperately to stay ahead of floodwaters, which reached 30 feet deep in some basements.
Whether it's cement, whether it's concrete, anything possible to stop the flow of water into the system.
The rising waters have slowed but not stopped here late today as city crews keep dumping thousands of tons of limestone into the river to seal the breach and plug the leak in what many here are calling Chicago's Great Loop Flood. Frank Troyer, CBS News, Chicago.
Both sides in the 5-month-old Caterpillar strike started talking again today. Most of the 13,000 strikers in Illinois are ignoring a company ultimatum to go back to work or be replaced permanently. America's largest supermarket chain, Kroger, is vowing to replace nearly 7,000 workers. They went on strike today after rejecting a new contract that includes cutbacks in health coverage. The strength and weakness of union labor nationwide was also evident today in presidential politics. Correspondent Richard Threlkeld has our report on that.
The AFL-CIO represents 14 million union workers, and today it took the first step toward endorsing Clinton. The union leadership voted with its head rather than its heart.
This is a practical decision made on the basis of an examination of Governor Clinton's record in office and of his positions on issues of importance to workers.
Big Labor's conversion to Clinton has come late and with some reluctance. He is, after all, governor of a right-to-work state who's often disagreed with the unions. Tom Harkin was Labor's candidate until he dropped out. Jerry Brown has won some individual union endorsements. But most labor leaders now seem convinced Clinton's the likely nominee. And whatever their reservations about him, it's time for Democrats to rally round. Clinton, who's still in Little Rock being treated for voice strain, acknowledged that today.
I realize that I wasn't their first choice, but I hope we can have a unified effort.
President Bush, meantime, signed an executive order today which will limit the money labor can spend on politics. He enforced a 1988 Supreme Court ruling preventing unions from using money from non-union workers for political activities they oppose.
Working Americans should have the right to decide whether contributing to political parties or candidates at odds with their beliefs fulfill that principle and represent the institutional responsibility that we rightfully expect.
The president's action is more symbol than substance. It won't affect political contributions, but it could curtail union get-out-the-vote drives and lobbying of union members. Democrats accuse Mr. Bush of practicing politics as usual.
This decision wasn't made because George Bush cares about the workers of America. It was made because he thought that in making it, he would disadvantage Democrats.
Labor's money and labor's blessings are nice things to have. The Democratic nominee always gets them. But what Bill Clinton will most need to win in November is the support of the 1 in 3 union voters who've been in the habit of voting Republican. Richard Threlkeld, CBS News, New York.
The Ford Motor Company said today it will spend $3 billion on plant improvements in the U.S. and Canada over the next 3 years. That could eventually mean about 1,000 more jobs in Kentucky and Ontario. General Motors Chairman Robert Stemple took a 30% pay cut last year as General Motors posted record losses. According to a GM proxy statement, Stemple got $1 million in salary. Still ahead on tonight's CBS Evening News, another Yugoslav republic sinking into civil war. And the world of video games. What's it doing to your child's mind?
Now you can ask Angela Lansbury about Bufferin.
Angela, you've said on TV that Bufferin is effective pain relief. Is it really strong aspirin?
I'll say it is. Extra strength Bufferin's the strongest dose of aspirin you can buy. 1,000 milligrams.
Angela, how can Bufferin be so strong if it has buffers?
That's a good question. I've learned the buffers don't weaken it. They just help prevent aspirin's stomach upset. Bufferin's great pain relief.
Shouldn't you discover the strength of Bufferin? For painful gas, which would you choose? Your antacid or Gas-X, the tablet made for gas? It's extra strength, 100% simethicone to fight gas faster. Faster than your antacid. Fight gas right with Gas-X.
I try to ignore my sensitive teeth, but they hurt.
Don't ignore your sensitive teeth. Sensodyne helps stop the pain that can make you stop brushing. Could lead even to tooth loss.
Thanks, Sensodyne.
Sensodyne helps stop the pain and the domino effect.
In Italy, Sicily, U.S. Marines have joined the battle against an erupting volcano, trying to save a village on the slopes of Mount Etna from molten lava. Marine helicopters dropped giant concrete blocks on the lava flow to split the main river into smaller streams that can cool off and harden. An Italian Army officer said, "You can't stop the lava, but you can slow it down." Mount Etna has been erupting since December, but the pace has picked up in recent days. Another civil war is exploding in the ruins of what used to be Yugoslavia. Fighting broke out again today between ethnic factions in the Republic of Bosnia. Dozens of people have been killed this month, and more than 100,000 have fled their homes. Tom Fenton has our report.
The pattern is all too familiar. Opposing bands of armed militiamen fighting to control a suburban community. Residents trapped in their homes. Middle-class neighborhoods turned into free fire zones. Last week, the United States recognized the independence of this former Republic of Yugoslavia. Yesterday, a ceasefire was declared. Today, the country resumed its slide into civil war. Everywhere, the civilian population is on the move. They were flocking to the railway station today and setting out on foot for the airport to escape neighbors who have become enemies because they are from a different ethnic group. Federal troops turned these refugees away from Sarajevo Airport this morning. The population is a mixture of Muslims, Serbs, and Croats. The Serbian forces blame the fighting on the Muslim militias. The Muslims and Croats blame the Serbs. The civilians suffer. There is evidence of massacres. More than 100 persons have been killed in Bosnia-Herzegovina in the past 2 weeks. Thousands died in neighboring Croatia after it declared independence, and there were only 2 ethnic groups fighting there. Here, no one knows how many will die before it is all over. Tom Fenton, CBS News, London.
Stay here with us now for more news, including the latest in the cola wars. See-through clear cola.
You've just poured yourself a bowl of Kellogg's Crispix when?
Hello? Mom, what a surprise. Well, actually, my cereal's sitting in milk.
When will you get back to your Kellogg's Crispix? It's anybody's guess.
Uh-huh. But they wouldn't give your money back?
Fortunately, Kellogg's Crispix stays crisp and delicious in milk.
Sure, Aunt Helen didn't mean it that way.
Even if you can't get to it right away.
Uh-huh. Still crispy. You're absolutely right, Mom.
Kellogg's Crispix, the taste that waits for you.
This is regular. This is better. This Bufferin is regular. For headaches, Anacin is better. Why better? Regular Bufferin has 1 ingredient. Anacin has 2, a pain medicine plus a second ingredient that makes it work better. Get Anacin. Get better.
An allergy attack can start small, but before you know it, your allergy is full grown. That's when you need Dimetapp. Maximum strength Dimetapp Extend tabs work for 12 full hours. Dimetapp, relief for the full-grown allergy attack.
American Airlines announces a dramatic change that brings value back to business travel. Introducing the Anytime Fare, a 38% savings off our full coach fare. Available on any domestic flight. Any day. Anytime you fly. With no advance purchase required. This is not a sale. It's part of a new way of doing business from American Airlines. Bringing value back to air travel.
He was desperate to learn the truth about his past. His mother wanted to stop him. They'll face the family secret on 48 Hours Wednesday.
The cost of borrowing money is heading down again, at least for the top customers of banks. Chemical Bank, America's second largest, cut its prime interest rate 1/4 point today, down to 6.25%. Pepsi-Cola is trying to boost interest in its products. The company came out with a new one today. As James Hattori reports, Pepsi is hoping for a clear advantage in the cola wars.
In an industry with $48 billion a year in sales on the line, the beverages may be soft, but the competition is rock hard. So it's no small gamble Pepsi-Cola takes today, unveiling in test markets the newest weapon in the cola wars, Crystal Pepsi. Supposedly a new category of soft drink. No caffeine, low sodium, no preservatives, and oddly for a cola, no color.
Oh, that's weird. You don't expect something that white to taste like cocoa.
Crystal Pepsi isn't diet, though it has slightly fewer calories than regular cola. It's taking aim at so-called new age beverages, the higher-priced designer sparkling waters, sales of which have grown 10% a year, 4 to 5 times that of other soft drinks.
Clear has very special associations for the consumer. The niche is anybody who wants something that's healthy, that looks clean and pure.
Pepsi's new product is also intended to chip away at its cross-aisle nemesis, Coca-Cola, which for years has maintained a lead in overall sales, 40% to 30%. Pepsi's move isn't without some risk. It could take away from sales of regular cola, or it could flop. Coca-Cola learned that lesson when it attempted to reformulate its original recipe in 1985. It was a fiasco, but the company managed to save face and market share by quickly introducing Coke Classic, a product more like the original Coke. For Pepsi, the risks are worth the possible competitive advantage.
The battle between Pepsi and Coke isn't really a battle, it's an all-out war. They will do anything to savage each other.
Pepsi's new drink comes on the heels of a successful and popular campaign for its Diet Cola. But even those sales were off last year. Still, in a market this huge, Pepsi will settle for small inroads. If its new soft drink captures just 1% of the market, that'll bubble up $1.5 billion in sales. James Hattori, CBS News, Dallas.
Coming up next, the Mandelas, a marriage that survived years of separation, may be coming to an end.
When I was little, I was always getting caught with my hand in the cookie jar. And I still love sweet things, like sun-sweet pitted prunes. So you see, nothing's changed, except my cookie jar.
It seems that every time you turn around these days, another pain reliever with ibuprofen in it is comparing itself to Tylenol. But you know what they can't say? They can't say they're gentler than Tylenol, because they're not. Tylenol won't irritate your stomach the way ibuprofen sometimes can. That's a medical fact. And is it any wonder that today hospitals use Tylenol 14 times more than ibuprofen? Tylenol, the pain reliever hospitals use most.
Every seat on every plane to everywhere we fly in the U.S. now has a new fare, with savings up to 50%. United Airlines announces fare fares for business travelers, first-class flyers, and vacationers, too. Now everyone who flies will find dramatic savings and exchangeable, more flexible tickets. It's our economic plan to lift the nation from the airline that's uniting the world. United. Come fly the friendly skies.
If your doctor has recommended Metamucil and you like the results, but you don't like those glasses of thick liquid, change to FiberCon. Get the same fiber action in easy-to-swallow tablets. Get doctor-recommended FiberCon.
I'm Mark McEwen.
And I'm Paula Zahn. You're allowed to steal bases, walk home, and even strike
But
out.
there's one thing some players won't be doing this season. Find out what it is tomorrow on CBS This Morning.
A scare for former President Ronald Reagan in Las Vegas today. He was there to get an award at a broadcasters convention, but before he could accept it, an intruder smashed the glass trophy and tried to take over the podium.
Has a key role in strengthening.
Excuse me, President Reagan.
The man was identified as an anti-nuclear protester. The former president was startled, as you can see, but he was unhurt. The president came back to the podium to give his acceptance speech. Overseas today, as expected, Neil Kinnock said he's stepping down as head of Britain's opposition Labour Party. The announcement came 4 days after Labour's surprise election loss to Prime Minister Major's Conservatives. Kinnock blamed the defeat on the press. Buckingham Palace announced another breakup today. Princess Anne, Queen Elizabeth's only daughter, is divorcing her husband, Mark Phillips. They've been married 18 years. In South Africa, Nelson Mandela said today he is separating from his wife, Winnie. The split follows new accusations that Mrs. Mandela was directly involved in murder and kidnapping incidents while her husband was in prison several years ago. Mike Sullivan has our report.
The announcement from a tired and drawn Nelson Mandela had been expected for days, but still, he would not criticize his wife of 34 years.
Her tenacity reinforced my personal respect, love, and growing affection.
In many ways, it was a marriage that never stood a chance. Mandela, jailed in the 1960s, spent 27 years behind bars. During that time, Winnie raised their family and fought South Africa's white minority government. But she also surrounded herself with township thugs and became feared. Last year, she was convicted of kidnapping and as an accessory to assault in a trial that damaged not only her credibility, but also her husband's. Winnie's former driver now says he lied in court about her involvement in the death of a teenage activist.
She says I must help her to pick out the corpse of that dog and go and dump it.
For many, the woman once known as the mother of the nation has become a liability to the very cause she has championed. Ntato Matlana is a fellow activist who has known the Mandelas for decades.
I think the problem relates to the kind of pressures outside the marriage that Mrs. Mandela was subjected to.
Even as he announced the breakdown of his marriage, Mandela acknowledged his debt to his wife using her family name.
I shall personally never regret the life Comrade Nobzam and I tried to share together.
But in the end, the pressures were too much. And tonight, Winnie is not talking, and Nelson Mandela is carrying on alone. Mike Sullivan for CBS News, Johannesburg.
With a luxury car like the new J30 from Infiniti, you may be expected to drive with a certain decorum in public. What you do behind closed doors, however, is your own business. The new Infiniti J30 makes you want to take up driving again, doesn't it?
In medical tests, people fell asleep faster and slept better with Unisom than without. Unisom for faster, better sleep.
Nighttime, one of the worst times for pain. Minor arthritis pain, muscle aches, pain that seems to go on. That's why you need Ultra Strength Bengay, the strongest Bengay ever. You can say goodnight to your pain with Ultra Strength Bengay.
Here's the problem. You need to remodel your house, but you don't know if you'll ever get to do it. Because in between need and get is a gap called not enough money. Well, it's easy to bridge that gap between need and get. Just go to First Interstate Bank, because First Interstate offers home improvement loans, car loans, and secured lines of credit at some of our lowest rates in years. So to go from need to get, just go to First Interstate Bank, and we'll help you get what you need. What traits do you look for in a financial firm? A herd mentality? Unsteadiness? Complacency? Or do you look for strength? Stability? Knowledge of the world? What traits do you look for?
It's after school. Do you know where your children are? There's a good chance they're in front of a video game. More than 1 out of 3 American homes now has one. It's a $6 billion a year industry. So we know what it's doing for business. But what is it doing to our children? In tonight's Eye on America, video games, the view from kids and from observers, in their own words.
Can you give me a little bit better description of the monster?
What weapons do you have right now? What kind of bows?
You'll return to Earth and you'll destroy a giant.
Ready, set,
You have a game system in which there are something in the range of 30 million installed bases in America. This is very pervasive, very, very powerful, and nobody's particularly taking a careful look at it. And they're not very good, generally speaking.
The more I programmed, the more it seemed that the good aspect of video games far outweighed the bad aspects.
Most kids have them.
That's one of the main things that kids talk about. We like to play them over and over again.
I have no idea at all. But that's the computer age, right?
is a culture that's primarily taken care of and run by kids.
It's something you can control. In the video game, you control the people, and in the real, you just control yourself.
This is a culture of simulation.
Nintendo Gameplay, this is Jay. How can I help?
This is John. How can I help
This is Linda speaking. How may I help you?
We provide strategy tips. We kind of nudge you in the right direction and let you enjoy the game. There's the two towers. One's on the north side of the river, one's on the south side of the river, correct?
Then there will be an attack, and a lot of the people will be laying around hurt.
We're taking over 200,000 calls per week.
My question is in the underworld.
The most common question is help.
I can't figure out how to get the magic key for level 6.
Practice and persistence. If you just keep on trying, then you'll get to your goal.
One of the things that you do when you play video games is spend a lot of time trying to figure things out, trying this, trying that, and it's the same kind of strategy of sort of fiddling around that is necessary for being able to figure out how any technological device works.
A and Y are using your weapons, B is jump, and X is to use your magic.
Playing complex video games develops complex problem-solving skills that are going to be useful in almost any capacity throughout your life.
I'm trying to get all the pieces of my ship together, because when I do that, I can leave Earth.
What is the content of these games? They're basically about violence, and they're also about gender discrimination. A large amount of it.
A boys' game would be more of the arcade-type action games. Girls, as a general rule, aren't that interested in those kind of games. A girls' game would be more like the Barbie game, and that's really the only one that's specific for girls.
There's a game, it's Barbie. The only one that really has a girl in it, but most of them are guys.
I like Narc, which is you're an undercover cop, and you get to go and shoot people, and you can shoot them with missiles, and you see all these arms and legs flying.
Nintendo's very careful that no graphic sort of violence is ever shown. In all the studies that have been done, there's been no link that shows that there's a cause between playing video games and violence.
Well, I don't think if they're going to see, like, a guy die on a video game, they're going to go out and, like, kill their parents or something like that.
I have no problem distinguishing between three-legged aliens in the real world.
Bottom line, though, it comes down to the parent. It's something you have to put controls on, and you have to limit how much time they'll do it.
One thing that would be real helpful for Nintendo is to have some kind of a mother in the screen or father. You've been on this for an hour. Is your homework done? You know, something to kind of bring kids back to reality.
Game over. And when the game is over, just how much time has your child spent playing? The industry says the average player is in front of the video game screen about 5 hours a week. That's part of our world tonight. Dan Rather for the CBS Evening News. See you tomorrow. Good night.
CBS News. Unwed mothers get a bundle of joy. Unwed fathers often get lost fast. But one state is answering the question, where's Papa? The story on the CBS Evening News.